Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today showcases this fabulous book, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, where each and every one of the animal characters featured here actually represents a live person, a human being, someone who really cares about listening at an elevated level. So each show, we feature a different one of the animal characters, the actual human being behind the animal, to let us know why they decided to be part of this initiative and what it is that their animal represents when it comes to listening at elevated levels. So I'll share a little bit of background for you about the book, and then I will bring out our special guest today. Our special guest is the red IBIS that you can see here on the book cover, and that person is Red O'Loughlin. So he's one of our team members here. He's a co-host. He's an expert presenter on Talking Heads. He is also an elevated listener, obviously, and he will be heading up a new panel show about healthcare. So this book took shape because, as you may know, if you've been watching any of these shows or any of the other shows that I do, I have a passion for teaching people how to listen at an elevated level. When we learn how to listen at an elevated level, we're listening without judging another person. We're listening without interrupting another person. We're listening without providing a solution that wasn't asked for. And we're listening without stealing the stage from the other person. All of these are traits that really cause a lot of friction in relationships. So I started thinking, what if we were able to teach animals, teach children using animals how to listen at an elevated level, instead of waiting until we get to be in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, on, and we realize we are not listening very well. We've got strife in our relationships. Learning how to listen when we're young would make a huge difference. So I'm partnered with Mariska Duprier, who is my friend and also business coach. She is in New Zealand, and together we have written this book. This is the first of 7 in the book series, and it's finished. Just going through it with my book coach, who is Red O'Loughlin. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. The second book in the series is being written as we speak, and we do have a few openings if you're interested in being one of the animal characters, and I'll speak a little bit more about that later in the show. So this particular book, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, features the ladybug you can see there in the middle. And that ladybug actually represents my great niece, Ella Wilson. And she will be 1 year of age as of next month. So the book is dedicated to her. And then each of the animal characters that you see here, as I mentioned, is a human being who took the Power of Listening course, the certification course that I offer, to help people understand how is it that I can change my behavior. And we actually do that by looking at role plays. When we look at these role plays and we see other people's behavior, then we can say to ourselves, okay, I get it. I might not be able to see it in myself, but I can recognize it in someone else. And therefore, I might be more open to realizing that I am probably doing some of the same things. We all fall into these types of patterns of behavior. And what happens is, depending on whomever you live with, whomever you work with, you then have this exchange that goes back and forth in an unhealthy way in many cases, because that's what you're used to. You're showing up one way, they're showing up another way. And instead of breaking the pattern, breaking the bad behavior and changing the dynamics, it keeps going on. And then you'll find yourself going from one relationship to the other with the same type of behavior traits. So for this specific book, it's again to teach kiddos and their family members how to listen at an elevated level. We're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we'll be speaking with Red O'Loughlin about the red ibis and how he chose that character, what the significance of the character is, and how he feels about being a part of this in such a big way, because in addition to being in the book, on the book cover, he's also the book coach. So we'll be right back with more from him. Thanks so much.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DianeFloydBoehm.com. Visit DianeFloydBoehm.com. That's DianeFloydBoehm.com.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diane Floyd Boehm's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DianeFloydBoehm.com.
December 15th, 2022. And the second book is called Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And I'm really excited about that one as well, because it's going to feature an actual song. Ooh, for some reason, my camera went out. I don't know why. I'm still here. The second book is actually going to feature a song. So you will be able to get the sheet music for the song and then also download the song so that you can sing it with your family, with your children, with other children. It's going to be super fantastic and fun. Okay, some other quick announcements. As I mentioned, if you're interested in being an animal character in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh book, we have opportunities for you. It's so simple. All you have to do is reach out to me, and my email address, I will put it up. But I've got several email addresses. The easiest is jacalyn@drjacalyn.com. Here's my other one, which is drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. And why would you want to do this? Well, because you're helping be a part of the mission for people, children, adults, people who are reading these books to the children to learn elevated listening skills. And I really believe that when we're listening at an elevated level, we have more inner peace. And if each and every one of us has more inner peace, think about a world of peace. That would be phenomenal. So again, reach out to me. You would select an animal character. So any animal that is meaningful to you, and then you would draw it, or you find a picture of it, and then we'd send it to our illustrator, and the illustrator would go ahead and design it, and then I'd ask you to name it. And then once you named it, we talk about what are some of the strengths of that specific animal and what does it mean to you. So right on time, there he is joining us, Mr. Red O'Loughlin, the Red IBIS. Welcome to the show, sir.
Howdy.
You're glowing green.
Yes, I know. I'm not sure what's going on here. I was having anyway, it's interesting. As many times as I've talked to this computer here in the last 5-10 minutes, it's not cooperative. But those days start that way sometimes, and no matter what you do, it is what it is. And I guess I'll just glow today.
Well, you're glowing in my heart, really, for all the wonderful things that you've helped me work with and to accomplish. So, Red, I was telling our audience a little bit about you and what it is you do here on the channel, but let's hear from you. What is it that you're doing, and how are you helping people when you're not on this channel?
Well, I do several things. One of the things I love to do is talk. Obviously, this platform, USA Global TV and Radio Network, provides an opportunity for many people to do that. If you have a skill, if you have some knowledge that you want to share, this is a great place to do it. Please contact Dr. Jacalyn, and she'll answer all your questions in that regard. But I have a presentation I do every week. My specialty is health and wellness. My niche is longevity. I research the human body at the cellular level. Chemically speaking, I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat a symptom, you'll always be treating symptoms. So if you have something wrong and you can stop something from happening or accelerate something good that's happening, those are things that you should be doing. I did a recent series on pain, and pain has a very definite pathway. And if you can stop something in that pathway, then a lot of the pain can be managed. Same thing with fat. I'm finishing up this week a 6-part session on fat management. What causes fat to go into a fat cell? What causes fat to come out of a fat cell? What causes fat to burn? What stops fat from burning? So I'm going to conclude that session this week. But I speak routinely, Chamber of Commerce meetings, Rotary clubs, other things. So with Zoom, I can be almost anywhere. I love to write. I write every day. I have over almost 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn. I have about 1,500 blogs on my website. And I'm an author of 5 books, and I have 4 more pending right this minute. And on top of that, I publish books for people, primarily new authors. There's a very simple, easy way to write a book. I was on Dr. Jacalyn's show, I guess a little over a year ago now, and we talked, and all of a sudden she says, let me try it. And so we connected. She wrote a book and became a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. And she got the bug, and she wrote another book, and it became a #1 best-selling book on Amazon. And now she has this children's book, the third in the series of writing books, but the first of 7 children's books that she wants to do. And so I'm just adding my little 2 cents in everywhere that I can. If she has a question I can answer it, I do. If not, we have a good conversation. I make some suggestions, she makes them back. We go back and forth, and then we come up with a good answer. We charge ahead, and so far it's worked very, very well. Do you think so, Dr. Jacalyn?
I am extremely happy. And yes, I think you and I really work very well together. We've got this system down, and it's been just a joy working with you. You're so good at what you do. And of course, that military background that you have, you're very on point and to the point, and you help keep me on point. And you know how I am. I want to get everything done immediately. But it's
You could tell by my military haircut, right?
yes. So, Red, you are one of the characters in this first book. You're the Red IBIS, and I'm going to put up the little graphic here if I can find it so that it's easier for people to see. So let me take down this comment. So tell us a little bit about how and why you decided to be part of a mission to teach children and their family members how to listen at an elevated level.
I'm sure I'm glad you gave me such a softball question to answer. When you were expanding your empire and you have many, many skill sets, and you help people in so many different ways other than just on live stream TV, as evidenced by the 20, we almost 30 now programs you do weekly. You have a program that is called Elevated Listening. And in that Elevated Listening program, we learn that there are things that we could do better and improve our listening skills. Many times there are things that we don't even think about, we just do. But if we step back a second and just listen to the other person and not try to solve their problem, especially when they don't want it solved. A lot of people just want to rant. They just want to get it off their chest. That's fine. And then we come in immediately. And from a husband's perspective, that is exactly what I used to do. I still do it occasionally. I haven't quite become perfect in that regard, but you come home and sometimes somebody just wants to vent. Well, they don't want a solution to the problem. They just want to vent. Same thing occurs everywhere else in the world. We have our own opinions, and we think that they need to be known by other people. So in Dr. Jacalyn's Elevated Listening class, it goes, lesson 1, 2, 3, and each one you learn a little bit more, a better skill set. And she was talking one day and she says, this would be a really neat thing if we could start this at the children's level. And so that way they're already skilled at a much higher level than we were way back when. And one of the easiest ways to get there is to write children's books. And so from that perspective, I said, yes, I'm more than happy to cooperate. And she says, what animal do you want to be? I said, well, it has to be a red animal because my name's Red. My real name's Francis Michael, but only bill collectors call me that. So I'm the oldest of 9 kids. 8 out of 11 in my family are redhead. And so I was Red, and my son was Red. Even though he doesn't have red hair, he's still called Red. So that regardless, it had to be red. And when you look out there, how many red animals are there? There's not too many of them. And so I know, we talked about several other ones that weren't quite in the red category. We settled on the Red IBIS, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
That's a great story, Red. Thank you. I always learn something new from you each time. It's amazing. So you took the course, and then I reached out to you about being part of this journey. You decided which character that you were going to be. But in addition, you're also my book coach and mentor. So you get to see a lot of things going on behind the scenes. You already know what the storyline is. It's written. You actually have the whole manuscript there for your reading pleasure. And it's been quite interesting learning how things are different writing a children's book. In fact, I spoke to our dear friend Diane yesterday, and Diane Floyd-Bame, if you are not familiar with her, she's an award-winning children's book author, as well as many other things. And she's also a wonderful human being. She loves to help people. She gives of herself over and over again. She's the queen of networking. And of course, she knows all about children's books. And I know already in this first book that it's been kind of challenging in getting the layout together because we're not quite sure exactly what the size is supposed to be. We have an ebook, we've got the paperback, we've got the hardback, we've got the illustrate, we've got all these different things that we're dealing with that we've never had to deal with in quite the same way. And now for the second book, which I think I left you a message on this, we're going to be including a song. And the song will be for the children and their family members to sing. We'll be recording an actual track and then providing a download for people. And then they'll have the sheet music in the back of the book. So it's all a new journey. But to me, the most important thing of any of these 7 books is the messaging. So I'm not going to be quite as maybe some other authors are in terms of what the illustrations look like, because to me it's really what the messaging is that's taken away. And of course I know those illustrations can make an impact. What are your thoughts about this?
There are many ways to get a message across, but you have to get the message across. And if you're tied up in something that is going to take you down a rabbit hole that will take extended time and not deliver the quality you want, the first thing is let's get a good quality product out there. It would be nice to be another #1 best-selling author on Amazon, and I'm sure you will be, but we need to get a good quality product out there. Now, this is a different animal, and I hate to use that term animal, in compared to the other books that you have written, because this does require a different attention to the words we use and the way we use them. When we're talking to adults, we may be talking at an 8th grade level or higher, depending on what the specialty is. And a lot of times we're talking in stories because stories sell, they tell the point. But regardless, when you have a child and a parent is reading to that child or a teacher is reading to that child, there is an expectation, and it's not quite the same thing that you would get in your business book on how to improve the bottom line of your business or any other topic. And so it's structured to be like other children's books, and that we know what the success factor is. There's certain things. And when you look at what is the age, well, you have to center on that age because there's certain words they don't understand. And because a lot of times children are having difficulty reading because it's one of the skills they're learning. One of the things that we're doing is putting the book into a dyslexic font so that it's easier to read. And then there's several other things that when you work with colors and you work with black and white and sharpness and contrast, that it requires a book to have a little bit of extra attention than just a typical black and white book with no photos whatsoever in it. And thank you very much. Here's my book. But this one here, it's not only a children's book, and there's a lot of good reasons why children's books are written, but this one is absolutely a step above because we want to improve the life of the child. And if you can improve the life of the child and at the same time improve the life of the parent, because if the parent is reading the book, people are learning at the same time, then you have a double whammy, so to speak, but you have an elevated platform by which a person now is at a higher level of being able to function as a human being. And I think that is really and truly the thought process that Dr. JACALYN is processing in this book. Would you not agree, Doctor?
Yes, thank you. That was a great overview and summary. I also think that what's interesting about this book is that the animals, if you see that there's a fence there are some animals on one side of the fence and some animals on the other side of the fence, and they have formed judgments about each other like we do in life, and they see things and hear things differently. And part of the evolution of the first book is them learning to strip away those judgments and learning to actually listen and be open to how another animal character perceives something. So
Yeah,
we also,
that's why I chose a red ibis rather than the blonde ibis, because there's so many things about blondes. And I'll tell you something you may not know. What's the difference between a male blonde and a female blonde? It's very obvious. A blonde, BLONDE, is a female. BOLND is a male. And the way I remember it is Blondie and Dagwood. Blondie is the E at the end of the blonde. So if you see BLOND, that's typically referring to a male blonde person. A female would be blonde. Yeah, just for a little comment.
That's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. We also have a comment from our friend, Mr. Hyatt Ives. Good afternoon, y'all. Hello, Hyatt. Hyatt is also featured in this book. He is the white stallion named Earl. You can see the white horse back there. So, Red, when it comes to learning how to listen in a different manner, do you think that this will be something that is more of a challenge for a child who is just learning these skills, or do you think it's more of a challenge for an adult who already has incorporated potentially unhealthy listening habits or ineffective listening habits?
I think there's two answers to that question. They both end up being the same answer. Number one, you mentioned it right there. Adults have a history. They have their habits. They have everything that they do every day, regardless of what else is going on. And as a result, you're trying to break a habit, and breaking a habit is very difficult. Sometimes it works, and then a year later, you're back in the same habit. Take losing weight, for instance. Yeah, you may go out there, you may lose 10, 15 pounds, and then 2 years from now, it's back. Whatever habit you had to put it on, the weight worked well. Whatever habit you adapted to change to take that weight off worked well temporarily. But unless you're constantly using that new skill in an ongoing everyday environment, you have a tendency to drift back into your old lifestyle, or in this case, an older habit, which may be not as effective or elevated a listener as you can be, even though you know it's just one of those things that we don't practice every single day. Now, with a child, I think it's slightly different because they have habits, but their habits are so wide open to learning things. I remember talking with my grandson, and we were talking about the subconscious mind, about how it works. And he was just so fascinated. He says, "Why aren't they teaching that, in school?" And I think he was in second grade or third grade at the time. And he was just flabbergasted that I should be knowing this in school. Well, they have an incredible a sponge for knowledge, and it's not being fed, it's being dripped out. Well, this is one of those things you don't have to fire hose it up. It's being dripped out, but it's being dripped out at a level that you can take and build on. Okay, let's take this one here. And each one of Dr. JACALYN's books, as I understand it, is going to concentrate on a different aspect of learning, listening, so that you're building on what you already have. Is that correct, Dr. JACALYN?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
And so as such, the child learns a little, can practice it, learns a little bit more, can practice it. And if it's incorporated into school, which one of the things that Dr. JACALYN, I believe, has a plan to do, is to try to get this program into schools. But then the teacher, because if you have an audience of 30 kids or 20 kids, whatever it is in the class, and they're all listening better than they were, it makes the teacher's job so much easier. It makes the student's job so much easier of learning. It's just a win-win for just about every aspect of life, I think.
Yes. Thank you so much, Red. I love the way you just put that out there in a digestible way that everyone can understand. So it's, as we mentioned, this first book will be available in paperback and hardback November 26th, which is known here as Black Friday, but you can actually pre-order it right now in the ebook, and that is available for $3.99 today. I've put the link up there. Red, I would love if you would share, just as an aside, when someone's interested in hiring you as a book coach, what are the services you provide in that area?
Well, I rarely hire myself out as a book coach. I reserve that for a unique situation. I've done it. It's not something that I do typically. My normal book publishing venue is you give me a finished product. It's already edited, it's proofed, it's ready to roll. I take that and I deliver an author account on KDP Amazon. I give you an ebook and a paperback book, and I give you back all your intellectual property. I am not an editor. I'm not a proofer. I'm not a website designer. I'm not press release. I don't work with marketing. I have sources that I can send people to do all that. A lot of times, all somebody wants to do is just be an author, and they go to a publishing company and they want 500 books, and they want this and that. Never. I do not require any of that. All I do is publish. So if all you want to do is be known as a published author in a field that you have a skill in, then that's what I do. Now, there are certain cases that come along because the opportunity is there and there's some uniquenesses about it that I'll say, yes, I'd be more than happy to work with you. And that's the case with Dr. JACALYN. I've had a couple others, but it's not something that I do as a general rule because of the time involved that I have to spend with that particular individual. To do that with multiple, I'd just be taking myself and having to clone, but it's not something that I do all the time. But I do publishing quite often, because if all I'm doing is publishing a book for somebody, that is a very narrow, easy thing to do. A lot of people get hung up on formatting, they get hung up on some other issues. And if you haven't done it before, yes, it's difficult. Yes, you can go to YouTube. Yes, you can go to Google. You can get all the answers you want. You can do it for free. I did a series on Dr. JACALYN's Talking Heads called How to Write Your Book and Publish It for Free. Go there to YouTube. You can take a look at the entire series, do it yourself. It's easy if you have the skills to do it. But for book coaching, each person is different. There's demands on their time, demands on my time. Things change in the outside world. Take a look at what just happened here in the last 2 years with COVID. We would never have thought that our world would be changed that much at one point in time, but it did literally overnight. Dr. JACALYN stopped one line of employment and started a brand new, entirely different line of employment on the first day of COVID. People just don't have everything working for them all the time. But if there's a special case and that argument can be made, yes, I'll consider seriously being a book coach. But it's not something that I typically do. I prefer just to do the publishing and help people in that particular area. Now, I will answer any questions. I do a lot of question answering for new authors. That's all free. That you have a question, send me an email, get me on the phone. Those are the two easiest ways to reach me, and my information is at my website, redolaughlin.com. But if you have a question, I'm more than happy to answer it. If I can solve your question by answering it, fantastic. Go for it. But the book coach is something just certain circumstances, and Dr. JACALYN certain circumstances. And I think she and I make a very good working team to get that book out on time and to have a high quality deliverable product. And that's exactly what I expect here with our first children's book.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Also, as we close out this show, I just wanted to announce, and Red, I didn't even get to share this with you, but as a result of Mr. Alcini's Talking Head series, we here at the channel, we're now going to offer Talking Heads partners and Talking Heads teams. So in addition to being able to be a Talking Head yourself, you could actually sign up for a series and do it with someone else as a partner, or as a group of you as a team. So what are your thoughts about that, Red, just hearing it live on the air?
I think that's a super excellent idea. You have a synergy of two people on the same wavelength, but different experiences in life, different successes, different failures. And when you combine those two together, you have extra added value that can be shared with the audience. You want to learn something, and you have a platform with USA Global TV and Radio that gives the viewer or the listener that ability to hone in on something they really want to know about. In my particular case, it's health and wellness, but you got fashion, you have a business, you have so many different topics that really and truly, there's a lot of people out there that maybe they only want to know etiquette. That's something that's their little things that they want. But other people might want to, well, what's the latest in the books? You have so many different areas out there. Roland's coming up with a new thing on the environment. You have the women's group that focuses on women's issues. I think Roland also has a group that focuses on men's issues. So it's just so many different aspects of USA Global TV and Radio that it's not necessarily every single person will find something, but I think every single person can find something of interest there, because you do have such a wide variety of topics, and they're covered on a regular basis by experts. So if you put two experts or three or four, and they're all not necessarily solving the same problem, because I think everything starts with awareness. They're providing awareness to an audience. And as part of that awareness, education is enhanced in certain areas because we want to dive deeper into an area that really needs attention. So you have awareness, you have education, and you have the ability to take action. And that's the beauty that I see in any kind of talking heads program, whether it's an individual talking head or a combination of more than one. And to answer your question as quickly as I can, that's it. That's my short answer.
You're good on your feet, Red. Of course, you're a distinguished Toastmaster, so I would expect that.
Well, I'm currently sitting down, but I understand the words you chose.
Well, Red, as we close out this show, I just want to encourage people to reach out to you, especially for this new show that you're going to have, which is a panel show. And is it specifically about any type of health related issues, or is it about health at a high level? How would you describe it?
Well, I think there's certain questions that need answering. And if you have, let's say, a doctor, you have a fitness coach, you have a alternative medicine practitioner, you have maybe a chiropractor, they each solve a problem in a different way. So if I say the problem is XYZ, and somebody can say, from my experience, this has worked well. And somebody else can say, well, sometimes that does work, but then there's other things that action doesn't work. Well, I have found that if I take this particular approach, it works. So my vision when this program is put together is that I'll have different experts in the fields of health and wellness that can hone in on a problem and solve it from different perspectives. And with that, I can say, this week we're going to talk about pain management. And I will throw out 3 questions and say, these are the 3 questions we want to get answered today. And our panel discussion will provide answers from their successes in life or failures, because some cases we learn a lot from our failures. And that's the way I envision this thing. We have a basic question and then 2 or 3 follow on. And for the time period that's there, to give people adequate time to fully answer a question. They know in advance, they can prepare for it. It's not off the cuff. It's something that they know their particular field. This is the way we treat those things. That's what I envision.
Thank you very much. So please do reach out to Red if you would like to be considered as a panelist. You can contact him via his website, which is his name, www.red.olaughlin.com, or his email, red.olaughlin@gmail.com. And I just want to finish up with something on that. I met with our broadcast engineer who oversees the radio channels as well as the podcast channels. And there are people all over the world listening to the show on radio, which I'm really appreciative. He was just rattling through the various countries where people are listening. So we want to make sure that we give the contact information for those on the radio so that they can reach out. Many times people just say it too quickly and people can't get it. So thank you to our friends in Radioland as well. We really do appreciate you. All right, Red, we are going to sign off for now, but last message you want to have for the day for our audiences?
A last message. Now you're putting me on the spot because this can go on and on and on. And you know how that goes with some of our guests. But no, I think I'm just going to conclude and say redolaughlin.com. It's red, or like the color RED, Olaughlin, OLAUGHLIN, redolaughlin.com. My contact information is there, email, phone numbers. More than happy to have you get in touch with me. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Dr. JACALYN. I look forward to seeing you later this week.
Thank you so much, Red. I do as well. Saying goodbye for now.
Bye now.
Bye. All right, 2 things I want to announce as we conclude this show. The first is we have the opportunity for you, our loyal followers, to become super fans on our YouTube channel. So what that means is any of our videos that are uploaded as opposed to being live streamed, you actually can get recognition for being a super fan by giving super thanks. So please go over to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and look across the playlist. And when you see, I think the word is videos. It's not going to be live, LIVE. It's going to be videos. You can watch any of those and be recognized as a super fan by me. So please go ahead and look into that. Second of all, our newsletter is now a magazine. The Global Post magazine will be coming out tomorrow. So it will be every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is 4 p.m. British Summer Time, of course, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, there's 9 different time zones. I can't go through all of them. But if you would like to be featured in our magazine, that is an opportunity for you as well. Please do contact me. I will put up my contact information and we can discuss how we can help you and support your work here at USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you so much. We are coming right back with our next show, which is the Mallorca Connection, where I will be interviewing Mr. Roland Friedel about this new show called The Earth Show, why he's doing this show, and what he hopes to accomplish by doing it. So that's all for now. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.